we're going to start doing podcasts. The best of Smitty and Smitty.
And
be looking forward.
There'll be a best of. There will be a best of. If it's only 2 minutes long, there will be a best of. So big win in Auburn this week, taking down Florida. It wasn't pretty, but a lot happened. But I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there that we have an issue here at Smitty and Smitty. We have caused a serious problem, and I'm going to call it the Smitty and Smitty curse. Are you ready for the Smitty and Smitty curse?
What's the Smitty and Smitty curse?
We had Barrett Trotter on the show, and next week what happens?
It's benched.
Yes, I'm putting that on us.
It's our fault? What do we do?
No one's going to come on the show anymore. They're going to be afraid.
No, they won't.
They will. It is the Smitty and Smitty curse. We have started something terrible here.
Well, if we've started it, we shouldn't be talking about it. We should keep it a secret, Ryan.
I'm just saying, okay? We had our big interview this week, or last week. Barrett Trotter comes on the show. Boom, what happens? Plays terrible next week.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't believe in the Smitty and Smitty curse. I think it's just a bunch of malarkey, my friend.
All right, well, what do you believe in? What was something that you can take away from last week's game?
I can take away we got some defensive confidence. Our defense played Corey Lemonier up front, doing some great things. Defensive Player of the Week, is that correct?
Yeah, that is
SEC?
correct. And speaking of Defensive Player of the Week, and in context of the show, since it is just a simple hour, and we have all week to discuss, do you want to hit the Smitty and Smitty Sports in 60 real quick, just so we can give our listeners a good view of what happened this week in the week of sports, and anything related to sports, anything big we want to hit in the Smitty and Smitty Sports in 60. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Brandon Lloyd this week was traded to the Rams for a sixth round pick. Have you ever experienced a trade, David?
No, but I've been traded out by a woman for less, like a bag of M&Ms less.
It's kind of awkward.
Taj Boyd engineers a comeback, and a total of 101 points were scored in the Clemson-Maryland game. Have you ever scored that much?
Not in one day. In other news, 25 years of wrongful imprisonment, and Chad Dawson is released, and he wins his first fight. What do you think?
Well, at least those 25 years spent in prison were good for something. Clay Aiken will be on The New Apprentice. Are you going to watch?
Only if him and Donald Trump get in a bubble bath. Corey Lemonier, as you said, was selected as the SEC Defensive Player of the Week as he reps the Auburn defensive line.
Speaking of defensive line, Steven Seagal has been sent down to the border to stop the illegal immigration. Would you cross if you knew that he would be under siege?
I see what you did there, and that's all we got. Sucker.
Wow.
That was Smitty and Smitty Sports in 60, exactly 60 seconds. I can't say that we practiced it, but we did.
It's a good thing you added that sucker.
I know. Because
we would have been a little bit under
We
time.
were on the line right there, and we hit it. We hit it. Under 60, everything you need to know. Clay Aiken, Steven Seagal, Auburn football. That's it. If you don't want to listen to the rest of the show, you can turn it off right now.
Hey, I think we should just leave on a high note. Take the headphones off. Go home. Have ourselves.
All right. You know what?
Day.
You know what? They don't pay us the big bucks to go home. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to finish. You got to finish the job.
Finish the drill.
All right. Finish the drill. And we have 53 more minutes. So let's talk about that Auburn-Florida game. I know you mentioned the selection for Corey Lemonier as the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Had a good, solid performance out there by the Auburn defense. And talking about that confidence, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Florida's offense is obviously terrible. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're playing a second and third string quarterback.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's something to be said for accomplishing something. Something to be said for, no matter who it is, dominating them on one side of the ball. And as bad of a team as Florida may be, I think they're a little bit better than Florida Atlantic, who put up those 13 points. Or whatever, 17 points, whatever it was. And I think that they're certainly, a good deal better than who was the first game of the season?
Utah State.
Utah State. I don't know. Utah State or Florida? Whose offense are you taking?
Ooh, easy there.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
let's hope no Florida fans are listening.
Well, what I'm saying is, it is a talented team that was obviously in a little bit of disarray, but you went out there and you did what you were supposed to do. If you're a defense. you can say all you want about the offense, but there's certainly defensive confidence like you talked about.
Very well, very well. Something that we haven't seen so far this year are our special teams. We're a little bit lacking on the kicking side.
Well, I mean, it was just and you made a much bigger deal about this than I see in this. There's not a he missed 2 40-plus yard field goals. He's a first-year kicker. I'm not terribly worried about it.
There were 2 field goals that you got to make. You got to get those points.
A 47-yarder or a 42-yarder. You got to hit the 42-yarder. 47-yarder. That's a good little kick right there.
He's got the leg.
That's a guy with no experience in the SEC.
Another thing, where were our touchbacks? I mean, do you think there's something wrong with?
You think the touchbacks are a rite of passage? I mean, like what?
I'm saying the kicking game as far as the kickoff return. As far as Cody Parkey did not play well.
Okay, he didn't play as well as he had before. But I'll tell you who did play well, Stephen Clark.
Yes, he did.
A guy who just continues to impress. I mean, just absolutely, punting game it might be the highlight of the season so far. You got a guy who's really holding it down in the punting game. And so let's get to the quarterback question. I know that we were joking earlier about the Smitty and Smitty curse. I hope it's not so. But you saw a changing quarterback, and I feel bad for. I don't feel. It's not. You can't put it all on Trotter. Obviously, he wasn't playing well. I don't think he would tell you he was playing well, but he wasn't getting a lot of help, and he wasn't. Something about this, we talked about earlier how something to be said for seeing something go right. He didn't have confidence building passes in that game. You know what I'm saying?
No, he did not trust his pocket. That's something that I think Clint Mosley did. He didn't have the happy feet. He stayed in there, had a better pocket presence, and I think that's why you're going to see Clint Mosley start the LSU game.
I think you will as well. And just to mention, Stephen Clark again named Special Teams Player of the Week. Is that the 3rd consecutive week he's been the Special Teams Player of the Week?
I believe it is.
And
we can have our boys check us up on it, though.
And Corey Lemonier was actually a co-defensive player of the week with South Carolina safety DJ Swearinger. That's a name right there. In relation to that, Clint Mosley came in there, made a couple big throws. You can't pronounce them earlier. We were talking before the show about how Barrett Trotter had 2 pretty successful games to start his quarterbacking career, and then he struggled down the stretch. I don't think you can necessarily equate 2 or 3 good throws from Clinton Mosley to a lockdown guy that you can trust at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you expect Clint Mosley to go in there in LSU and throw for 300 yards, you're just absolutely crazy. But can you expect him to go in there and play well? Yes, I think he can play well. But if he throws an interception or 2, I'm not gonna be that upset. I mean, he's not the savior of this team.
And that's where everyone gets caught up. And, you start out the season and you start trying to compare Cam Newton to Barrett Trotter. You're trying to look at what he did and compare it. You're trying to look at what Clint did and say, oh, he's going to be the guy that comes in and really changes things. And people were wanting to anoint Kyle Frazier before they saw the reason why he's not playing at quarterback, which were those 2 picks against that Arkansas team. This is something that a quarterback situation, when you got a new quarterback in there, you gotta just kind of take it as it comes. It's not something where at least from a fan's perspective, you can expect a guy who's not had that experience, not been in the system, not been someone who has had that